What is going on, everybody? It is Big L here, and today I'm bringing you our Week 10 or Week 11 battle. I think it's Week 10, maybe Week 11. I don't remember. I'm a great person. It is Week 10. Yeah, I was correct. Battle against Coach Middy and his Collingwood Corviknights. Middy has a super scary team. He's also a good player. If you've been around the channel for a while, you know me and him have had some really close games in the past. His type, he took over as a replacement coach. He wasn't going to play this season, but when we had a replacement and he saw the opportunity to play Rain, he jumped at the chance. So the typings he inherited were Water and Bug, and the changes he made to the team were really strong. His team consists of Pelipper, Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Mega Swampert, Scizor, Cleavor, Galvantula, Lantern, Greninja, Rabsca, Vivillon, and Slowbro. So as you can see, I thought he was really spoiled for choice. The only Pokemon I thought that there was a good chance he may not bring would be like Vivillon. But even that, I thought, set to get a Quiver Dance up in the rain. He could just spam Hurricane against me. But he brought the Urshifu, Rapid Strike, the Pelipper, Mega Swampert, Scizor, Greninja, and the Slowbro. So there's a few things that I noticed whenever I was looking at team prep. Was one, Seismitoad outspeeds Mega Swampert in Rain with Swiftwind, so I brought that. I was really worried about Scarf Greninja. Scarf Greninja outspeeds a speed-boosted Valiant, so it can always come in and try to revenge me. So I really want to try to get that thing. Either maybe I can try to knock it off, maybe I can try to get a little bit, chip it down, and so. We brought Seismitoad, Grimmsnarl, Garchomp, Iron Valiant, Nidoqueen, and Mega Altaria this week. Grimmsnarl is our basic set with screens. We got a bit of a bulky Chomp. This bulky Chomp can live Surging Strikes from Adamant Band Urshifu in the ring. So, and we got Rough Skin Rocky Helmet, so we're trying to wear that thing down. Even though I know protective pads is like pretty commonplace on especially Surging Strikes Urshifu. But still being able to get that extra damage on something like Mega Scizor, Mega Swampert, Urshifu. Maybe we switch it in on like a U-turn Pelipper, get that Rough Skin Rocky Helmet. It's really nice. We've got a special Iron Valiant. We've got Nidoqueen, and we've got bulky Nidoqueen. We want to get up Toxic Spikes. We want to try to punish this team for switching in a lot, because this team likes to switch around, pivot around. We want to try to punish that. And we've got Mega Altaria. Last second, I at least got lucky for some help building, because I was like, I want a little bit of advice. And originally that was Togekiss there, but he was like, dude, you need to bring Mega Altaria, you need a water resist. And looking back on it, like, yeah, we needed a water resist, and it worked out pretty well. So looking at potential leads here, I thought Grimmsnarl looked pretty good. I also thought about Seismitoad, but I ended up going with Grimmsnarl, and he led the Swampert, which makes a lot of sense because now he can just get his Mega off, and now he has his Mega. He has a Swampert Mega in the back. I decided to go ahead and go for a Reflect here. As he goes for the flip turn, we can see that it is Jolly, so it is the max speed Swampert. And then here he goes out into the Scizor, which is 100% fine. I can go ahead and go for a Parting Shot and lower his attack, and go out into the Nidoqueen, which is designed to beat this. He shouldn't be able to do too much to me. I'm expecting. I did all my calcs, did all my planning, expecting Adamant Choice Band Scizor. And he goes for the Brick Break, which is a really good bring. He gets an unfortunate crit, but I guess that doesn't really matter. Because, we would have taken less damage, but it is what it is. We get a little Black Sludge recovery. And here I think of it as a perfect opportunity to go ahead and get up my layer of T-Spikes. I only want one layer. I want the consistent 12% damage. I don't think his team he's not gonna bring things in and leave them in. I want that 12% every turn. I don't want toxic damage. I want one layer of spikes. That's all I want. So here, I go ahead and switch out. I want to see what this thing wants to go for. And I go out to Grimmsnarl. He goes for the Ice Beam, which is a good play on his part. Ice Beam is very spammable against my team. It makes me wonder if he maybe doesn't have Scald, but still, I also think Scald is good against my team. We'll try to get a burn on things like Garchomp or Grimmsnarl or something like that. So here I decide I'm going to go ahead and go for the Spirit Break, and he eats it for breakfast, and he just teleports out, which is a fair play on his part. Goes back out into the Scizor. I decided to go for a Parting Shot. I see no reason to stay in. This play doesn't get punished. And I go out into the Garchomp because I want my Nidoqueen to stay somewhat healthy in case he is able to get rid of the Toxic Spikes. I want more switch-ins. So I don't want to keep taking things like Bullet Punch, Brick Break, that he has close combat. And we take a U-turn, and he takes big damage from the Rough Skin and Rocky Helmet. Unfortunately, we reveal what we are, so now he has to. Now he knows what we are whenever he brings in the Urshifu, which is kind of a bummer. But he goes right out into the Greninja. This thing is a demon, and I don't switch into it well. We see immediately that it is poison, so it's not heavy-duty boots, and I'm assuming that it's Scarf, because like I said, Scarf Greninja looks really, really good against me. Like I said, it can outspeed my speed boost that man. So I have to be really, really careful with this thing. So I decide I'm going to go ahead and go out into Grimmsnarl here. He goes for the Ice Beam. We can tank that decently well. I decide to go ahead and Parting Shot. He's no longer a Dark type, so we can do that. And go out into Seismitoad. I'm thinking maybe I can get a knockoff off. And this is where I can be like, you know what? If he's not Scarf, he probably has Grass Knot, and he shows it here, most likely. So this is also me fishing for a Scarf. Because if he's not Scarf, I'm much less worried about it. And I don't really need Seismitoad because Iron Valiant with my speed boost can also outspeed Mega Swampert in the rain. So I'm not overly concerned about that. So this is where I decide, okay, we're gonna see what he goes for. We eat the Ice Beam, take quite a bit, and he switches out. So that makes me think that this thing is 100% gonna be Scarf. Because like I said, if he wasn't Scarf, he probably has Grass Knot and goes for it right there. But I decided to go for a knockoff. Decided to see what he wants to go into. He goes into the Pelipper. We go for the knockoff, and we knock off its Wakan Berry. Not what I was expecting. I thought maybe it'd be Boots, I thought maybe it'd be Sash, or even Damp Rock. But Wakan Berry. I thought that was a very, very interesting bring on his part. So I go ahead and go out into my Cloud9 Altaria, get rid of the rain effects, and he misses the Hurricane, which, I mean, it's an inaccurate move. Whenever the rain's not there, that's one of the reasons I went out into Altaria this turn. I still wanted to keep some health on Seismitoad. I wanted to get switch-ins on it. I still see a lot of potential usefulness for Seismitoad. And so I go ahead and just go for a Hyper Voice. I want to see what this does. I don't want to Mega yet. And he just goes ahead and goes for the U-turn. He goes U-turns out into Slowbro, and we get the poison on Slowbro, which is big. I want to be able to wear this thing down. Now, this thing's regenerator is a little bit mitigated because it's going to be taking 12% every time it switches in. So here, I don't really know what to do. I thought about this play for a long time. I knew Hyper Voice wouldn't do anything to it. My only attacking move is Hyper Voice. It's poison, so Will-O-Wisp isn't going to do anything. So I think about this play for a long time. I assume he's probably just going to teleport, and I don't want to give him the momentum. So I just decide, and the Hyper Voice isn't going to do enough damage that it'll do anything whenever he just teleports out. So I decide, well, if he does decide to stay in an Ice Beam, I can just go ahead and Roost. So that's what I do. I go ahead and Roost, and he goes for the teleport, giving me the momentum because he switched that in on this. That's what he wants in on Altaria. So that gives me a little bit of momentum here. So he goes out into the Pelipper, and I decide maybe he'll hard switch here into maybe something like the Sizzle or expecting a Hyper Voice. And I thought maybe I'll go for a Will-O-Wisp here because it's not like Hyper Voice did any real damage to this thing anyway. And this thing I could see from how much I did. He was not defensive. He must be an offensive Pelipper. So I get the burn on it as it goes for the U-turn, and he just goes right back out into the Slowbro. I decide to switch out this time, thinking maybe he'll go for the Ice Beam this time, and he doesn't. I go out to Seismitoad, and he doesn't. He goes for the teleport, and he goes out into the Urshifu. This thing is an absolute demon. Again, this is another one of those mons I had to prep a lot for. I didn't want to stay in because, like I said, I'm not water absorbed. If I was water absorbed, I would have thought about staying in here, but I'm not. So I know Surging Strikes can do a lot of damage to me, and depending on his set, he could kill me from this HP. So I go ahead and just go right back out into Altaria. Altaria is in a good position against this thing. As he goes for the Trailblaze, that does very, very little. That also tells me that he's not going to be choice banned. And I can just go ahead. There's nothing that he goes for here that can kill me if I Mega Evolve. So I'm just like, I'm going to go ahead and Mega Evolve and go for Hyper Voice. 2 of those will kill the Pelipper if I Mega Evolve, because I'll have the stab, just a Berry Stab on it. So I decide I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to Mega Evolve and go for the Hyper Voice, because he goes for the Ice Punch. He does 40%, which isn't 0, but we go ahead and get the knockout with the Hyper Voice, and we finally 17 turns into the game, have a kill in this game. He goes into the Greninja. I don't want to switch anything in on this. He's free to just click Ice Beam. And I decide to go ahead and click Boost here just in case he decides to, I don't know, maybe go for a U-turn, predicting me to switch out or something. But, you know, Ice Beam is so free. He's free to just click it. And we go down to the Ice Beam. But Altaria, you did a great job. You took out the Urshifu. That is all I needed you to do this game. So we go out into the Seismitoad. I know I can live in Ice Beam. I decide I'm just going to go ahead and go for a knockoff. And we get a crit on the Scizor, which is actually kind of big, because it means I can click a lot of different moves. I can click Earthquake or Liquidation here and get the kill. I decide, you know what, if he goes out into the Pelipper on an Earthquake, so be it. I'm not really that concerned. I'm going to go ahead and click Earthquake, as he just goes for the Bullet Punch, and that's fine, but we take out the Scizor with the Earthquake, which is another huge KO. That Scizor was a demon to prep for, especially in the rain. Can't really bring anything with fire to hit it, so... But so yeah, we're good. He goes back out into the Greninja. I think I clicked Liquidation here because it gave me my best chance to kill if I did live this Ice Beam, which I don't think there. I think there might have been a slim chance for me to live. But anyway, I go ahead and go out into the Grimmsnarl. As you can see, we haven't touched this Grin with anything, and it's down to 39% because of all that poison damage it's taken over time. I know that after I get a light screen up here, I can live any hit this thing wants to go for. So I just go for the light screen, and we get frozen. Which, look, I'm not mad. It is what it is. You know, if someone clicks Ice Beam enough, they're gonna get a freeze eventually. It's just like, you know, if someone clicks Flamethrower, you're gonna get a burn eventually. But this right here, it kind of puts me in a really awkward spot, because I'm in a position where I could potentially get nothing out of a turn. So I decide I'm just going to go ahead and click Parting Shot here just in case. But he switches out. I thought he would just take the kill here. But I felt like that was a really important turn. And I really thought it might be important for me to try to get something out of it. But he switches out. And I go ahead and I think I go for Reflect there or Parting Shot. And we don't unthaw, which is unfortunate. So here, I go ahead. I switch out. I want to keep this as a sack later. I go ahead and I switch out into Garchomp as he goes for the Defog. That's 100% fine. The only things that I'm really worried about getting poisoned are already poisoned. The Greninja and the Slowbro. Like I said, my Iron Valiant outspeeds Mega Pert in the rain, so I'm not super concerned about that. So what I decide to do here is I'm going to get up a layer of spikes. I haven't revealed anything on this Garchomp yet except that it's Rough Skin Rocky Helmet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get up a layer of spikes. As he switches out into the Slowbro, he doesn't want to take that Rough Skin Rocky Helmet damage going for U-turn. I mean, I could have Rock Slide, things like that. He doesn't know what I have. So I go ahead and get up a layer of spikes, which could be big. Like I said, I really want to limit that Greninja's switch-ins, and I feel like we've done a really, really good job of that, getting those toxic spikes early, and now getting a layer of spikes up. So on the Slowbro, I know I can live any hit this thing wants to go for. I know I live in Ice Beam, so I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna get up another layer of spikes here, get a little greedy, and we go ahead. We get another layer of spikes. We know we live this Ice Beam, and this freeze happens, and this freeze sucks. Because I could get a third layer of spikes up, I have Thunder Fang. Earthquake is very spammable at this point in the game because I outspeed the Pelipper, and I could just, if he comes in on an Earthquake. But this freeze really sucks. So I decided I'm going to try to unthaw and go for a Thunder Fang here. And he teleports. Again, I thought he would just try to take the kill, but he didn't. But I get what he was going for. He wanted to go out into Pelipper and try to get the defog away these spikes. I can't take a chance. I'm like, you know, if he stays in and goes for defog, that's fine. I can go for spikes next turn. But I go ahead and I try to unthaw again, and we unthaw and we get off the Thunder Fang. These spikes are here to stay. That's huge. So now that means that the Greninja, it comes in, it only gets one turn. So Garchomp gets the kill and goes into Mega Swampert. I'm slow. I know he's probably faster than me. He goes for the Earthquake, but hey, Greninja Greninja, god dang. Garchomp did its job. Took out the Pelipper. We got 2 layers of spikes up. Now it's time. I can go ahead, go out into Iron Valiant. We get our speed boost. I can just click Energy Ball here. This thing dies. And now, depending on what he wants to go into here, he goes out into the Slowbro. It takes the spikes damage. So I thought about this play quite a bit. I knew Energy Ball didn't die, and last second before the game, I thought really hard about switching from Shadow Ball to Hex, because he has the Rabsca, so I wanted something to hit that. And I was like, well, I've got Toxic Spikes. Maybe I should bring Hex just in case, I need a little bit extra damage. But I was like, well, what if I want the more consistent move just in case I don't really get the opportunity to get my Toxic Spikes up. So I ended up staying with Shadow Ball, but Hex would have killed me. But what I do here is I want to see what move he has on Slowbro to hit my Iron Valiant. Because if he has Psychic, there's a really good chance to kill. But if he's Psychic Noise, I have a really good chance to live. So I'm deciding, I'm going to go ahead and go out into Grimmsnarl. As he does just go for the Psychic Noise. We take no damage because we're Dark type, and that's an extra hit of poison. So I decide I'm going to stay in here. I'm going to try to get a light screen up, see if I can maybe unthaw, get up a light screen, because that would be huge for potential lives on both of these Pokemon. And we don't unthaw, he goes for the Ice Beam, and we get knocked out. And now he is in range of Energy Ball. So I switch back out, and I thought about this a lot too. With all we had seen on this, we've seen Ice Beam, Teleport, and Psychic Noise. I don't know what his last move was. I thought really hard about going into Nidoqueen here, because if his last move isn't Slack Off, I can go into Nidoqueen and click Sludge Wave twice. But I didn't see his last move. But if his last move was Slack Off, he just out heals me. So I couldn't do that. So I had to go out into Iron Valiant, and we had to hope that we got the roll or that he didn't get the roll. So we go for the Energy Ball, and we don't get the roll, which is really unfortunate. I know if I have 2 Pokemon left when Greninja comes in, we win the game because he only has 1 turn. So he goes for the Psychic Noise, and he does not get the roll. I think he said he had to have an absolute max roll. He only had 1 roll that killed me there. And so the Slowbro, it goes down to the poison. That's a kill for Nidoqueen. Greninja comes out. We know it's Scarf, so we know it's faster, but it doesn't matter. We go for it. I think I clicked Energy Ball here again. He goes for Ice Beam, takes out the Iron Valiant, and goes down to poison. And that is GG to Middy. We pick up another 1-0 victory, and woo! It took some cooking, that fight. That battle, well, as far as the number of turns goes, wasn't the longest battle. But that battle took a long time. It seemed like, especially down the stretch, every turn was important. And it was just a super, super close game. And that takes us to 8-2 on the season. We're tied for first, but unfortunately one of our losses are to Mr. Z, the other 8-2 coach. So if we weren't locked into playoffs before this win, I'm pretty sure we're locked into playoffs now at 8 wins. The playoff race is heating up in the PWO. It seems like half the league is hovering between 3 and 5 wins. So even teams that started off really, really rough, like me and T4, you were talking about the other day, he started out 0-7. He's not dead, and his team's pretty scary. He's got that fairy flying team that almost beat us, and he's a good player. A player like him gets in, sneaks in the bottom. You don't want to. That's a player. No offense, buddy. Hey, you're a friend. I don't want to see you in playoffs, dude. That team's scary as hell. So, coming down the stretch, this league is going to get really, really interesting. And we're just going to keep trying to plug along, keep trying to get these wins, get ourselves as good of a seat as possible. And we will see you in a second in the interview with Middy. What is going on, everybody? It is Big L here, right after the battle with Middy. Super, super close game, man.
Yeah, super fun one.
Yeah, really, really good. But yeah, looking at what you brought, I texted Shane yesterday. I was like,
Yeah.
there's no way he brings Punching Glove Urshifu, right? And because one of the things the Garchomp was meant for was to wear down surging strikes on Urshifu.
That's what I was thinking. I was originally going to have Berry on it. No, I swapped out to Punching Glove because it was like I thought Garchomp was going to be Rocky Helmet
Yep.
and
Rough skin.
and Rough Skin.
Yeah.
And then I also thought the what else do you have on your team? You had a where is it? I thought the Hello Sands as well was a potential or the Dash Buns as well was a potential bring of Rocky Helmet.
Yeah.
Um,
Doxbin got
so I
considered for a
thought
second, but not very long.
yeah, so I was like, I thought I would be a better fit for the team, but and it also stopped. It also stopped it with Ice Punch as well for the Garchomp.
Yeah.
And taking the Rocky Helmet and recoil damage as well.
Now, the two sets you brought that I 100% assumed would come were Banded Scizor and Scarf Grand.
Yeah, I needed the Scarf Grand for the Valiant.
Yep.
I was like, I was hoping that I had enough firepower for everything else, and then just bring Scarf Grand in.
Right.
But the Seismitoad caused quite a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting. I was expecting maybe a Swiftsum variant or like a physical water absorb variant, but the set you brought, I was not expecting. And it actually threw quite a big spanner in the works.
What were you thinking I'd bring on it? Like, because it was. I mean, it was a Swift Swim. It was a fast.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like a Rindoberry, like Fizz Def, and with like power whip. Power whip.
Yeah, I had power whip.
Yeah, I was expecting you to go for it on the turn with the Urshifu in, because I thought you might have been Rindo Power Whip and then just like O-code me.
Oh, is that why you went for Trailblaze?
Yeah, so I was hoping to either kill or at least get the chip. So because I knew Gren wasn't going to kill again with a one hit, so I was like, I need to at least get chip on it.
Yeah.
I was close to clicking Sword Stance, but I was like, oh, Power Whip's coming out here. And then, yeah.
But no, Altaria was a pretty safe switch in there. I knew Surging Strikes couldn't kill me. And then I could judge what your item was. I couldn't tell what your item was based on the Trailblaze damage. But I thought Altaria seemed like a pretty safe switch in there. Like Altaria was. Beg your pardon.
It was a great bring, Altaria.
That was lucky. Originally that spot was Togekiss because I wanted Defog because I thought you'd bring Webs. I thought you'd bring Galvantula.
Yeah, I had Galvantula on the first set, like the first set of the team that I brought, but with your ground types, I could fit Energy Ball, but Garchomp and stuff would have been a problem if it came in, Iron Treads, and the Togekiss too. And I kind of wanted more firepower for like Grimmsnarl and other things.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I was really glad I went with Parting Shot on Grimmsnarl. I had Thunderwave there originally.
Yeah, I was half expecting Thunderwave. I almost built the Mega Swampert for the Grimmsnarl because I also thought Grimmsnarl might have carried Power Whip, but once I saw like the Reflect and Parting Shot, I was like, oh, you can't fit it.
No, yeah, it was just a standard Grimmsnarl, just built to be a little bit annoying. That's basically all it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Brick Break on Scizor was good. I thought maybe you'd bring Close Combat, and I did prep pretty hard. There was one of my mons. I think it's a Nidoqueen. Like the only way Scizor could 2-hit KO Nidoqueen was if you had dual Wing Beat. So I was a little bit concerned about that at some point, but
I think because Banded Bullet Punch didn't kill, did it, with like a 2-hit KO?
I don't believe in my calcs. I don't think so. My Nidoqueen is pretty bulky. It's like max HP.
Yeah, no, it was
very defensive. It's pretty defensive. Yeah, it's meant to just get up hazards. Is like its main thing, and like Flamethrower is just there just for the Scizor, and maybe like Galvantula or whatever you wanted to bring. I don't know what else you had, I thought about that. That was also another thing I thought about. I thought about maybe bringing T-Bolt on. Was the
Well, yeah, I thought you might have been T-Bolt. Well, I'm surprised you actually didn't go Nido Queen on the Slowbro on that second last turn.
Well, that depended on you did have slack off, so I'm glad I didn't because I was like, if your last move isn't slack off, then Nidoqueen is 100% the play there. Because like I had Sludge Wave would have done like 35, 36%, but I was like, if I go Nidoqueen and his last move is slack off, then he can just slack off in front of me and just get health back. So
like when you went, I think it was a max. I would have had to get a max roll. I'm pretty sure on the Vel to kill.
yeah, I would have taken a pretty high roll because whenever near the end there, I was worried that you would have Psychic instead of Psychic Noise. Because I was like, if he has Psychic, that just kills me.
Well, I was gonna have Psychic, but I was worried about the Togekiss and the same with the Dash Bun passing Wish Offs
right
in front of it.
That was the original plan for Togekiss, was just be an annoying Wish Pass set. But whenever I talked about it with Lucky, he was like, I don't really see you getting many opportunities to Wish Pass.
Yeah.
Because like, he's like, which is funny because like he like one of the last things he said to me was like, I don't think this game's going to be very long.
Yeah, I mean,
and I was like, yeah, dude, I agree. I was like, our teams are just going to hit each other really hard like the whole game. And then here comes T4U, like we're on like turn 25, and he's like, you're an hour in and it's 4-4.
To be fair, like the way we built the team, like my team was built for like offense. It was meant to like either run something, kill something, and then die. Like Pelipper was meant to come in on a Valiant, take a Thunderbolt, and then just kill it, and then same with like half the team. It was meant to like live a hit and then kill something, and then Greninja should just come in late and clean up.
Mm-hmm. Now, if I don't get that unthaw the turn that Pelipper goes down, I think you just win.
Yeah, Glenn would have just come in and killed everything.
Yeah, you just win.
And yeah, so the Thunderfang, if you got that Thunderfang off, if you didn't get it off, it was probably a wrap.
But yeah, the first Ice Beam, I was like, well, that kind of puts me in an awkward spot because now I can't guaranteed get something out of this next turn. Like I can click Spirit Break, and if he switches out, I can get a little bit of damage. But if I can click Parting Shot to guarantee myself, but like getting frozen is like, what? I don't even know what to like. What do I want to happen? Like if I unthaw, do I want a Parting Shot out if he stays in and take damage on something in the back, or do I want to?
So now just teleport out.
Beg your pardon?
I would just teleport out at that point, wouldn't I?
Well, the Gren was in front of me. The first freeze on Grimstorm.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. That one just put me in an awkward place because I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't hard switch because like the Gren, like I can't hit 2-hit KOs.
Well, yeah, if you were in front, someone would have just died.
So I was like, but do I Parting Shot and but if he switches, Parting Shot's the better play. But like I'd like to try to get something out of. I think I clicked Reflect the turn it died. I'm like, because you still had the Pert in the back, so I was like, I mean, if that way, like if he does just click an attack move, I still get something out of the turn if I unthaw. But yeah, that was a. And then the second freeze, I was like, dude, you've got to be fucking me. Like that one was annoying because I went for Thunderfang that turn. Because like that would have gotten some nice damage off on Slowbro. Yeah, because Slowbro is the one that froze Garchomp.
It would have. I also don't know what the roll was on the Ice Beam.
I think
it was meant to kill. The roll for the Ice Beam on the Garchomp.
Was it a roll?
Was it? I think it was. Did you have any Spit F? I don't think so, right?
A little bit, maybe. No, I'm full defense, yeah, with a little bit of speed. I think that speed's there to outspeed Pelipper.
Yeah, I think it was. Let me check. It was. Yeah, it was actually 81% chance to kill.
Well,
I must have got a min roll.
I mean, I would have rather you killed, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm get frozen.
It kind of worked out.
Because yeah, the next turn I went for Thunderfang, which would have gotten which would have been really nice to get some damage off. But
yeah, then I wanted to play around. But to be fair, you wouldn't have got the extra layer of spikes.
No, I wouldn't have. Yeah, that extra layer of spikes was big. Getting those late game spikes was absolutely huge. for wearing down the Gren and getting the slow bro in range.
Definitely.
Um,
What else did
let's
you have?
see. What did
What was the rock slide for?
I think maybe the Galvantula. It did more to Galvantula than Earthquake.
Yeah. Okay.
I think. I don't remember exactly. And it was like one of those things like I couldn't think of a better move because I didn't really see the point of bringing Dragon Stab because it didn't really do anything. I thought about. I think that was between uh, uh, Rock Slide, Rocks, and something else.
Yeah.
Because like I'm like
Makes sense.
it's not offensive, so I didn't see the point in bringing something like a Scale Shot or something like that.
Of
But
course.
um, yeah, I think the Rock Slide was mainly there for just spread damage on just basically hits everything on your team pretty hard.
Yeah.
And like I said, like I think it hits the Galvantula harder than Earthquake. I'm pretty sure. And I think it hits. There was something else. But anyway, doesn't matter.
Definitely.
I never clicked it. I almost clicked it the turn that. What did I almost? I almost clicked it one turn. The turn that I clicked Thunderfang to kill the Pelipper, I almost clicked it because I was like, well, if he. But at that, I think it was
Yeah.
like, no, you did you switch out on that turn? There was a turn I clicked it, but I was like, well, if he switches out to Swampert, then he's
Yeah, you would
just
have been in trouble.
he's wasting a turn of rain or something. He's wasting a turn of something, or like he doesn't have rain. Like it was Pelipper was in, there was no rain up or something like that. And so I was like, I mean, if he goes out into Swampert, he doesn't really have any rain. So that thing's not like the biggest threat right now.
Yeah, I wonder.
So, but there was a reason I went ahead and clicked it instead of Rock. But I did think about Rock Slide.
Yeah.
But
We should have.
hmm. But yeah, your team was. I felt like you had a lot of options this week too. Like
Yeah.
there wasn't
Feel
a lot of Mons on your team that I looked at. Whenever I looked at your team, I was like, I don't think he's. There wasn't a whole lot of Mons I looked at, and I was like, he's not. I don't think he brings that. Like I couldn't see that.
Yeah.
I couldn't see that coming.
I
Um,
felt I had the upper hand,
I
especially
thought,
with yours. You had so many ground types.
yeah, I thought so too. I thought this week was gonna be really really tough. I was also kind of worried about a Calm Mind slow bro.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem with the Calm Mind Slowbro was what did I have? I think it was the Valiant or the because I was actually expecting physical. I thought like a Leaf Blade,
Yeah,
um,
it.
like Leaf Blade was
I
possible,
thought
and
about I thought about physical Valiant for a minute. Your team just looked weaker on the special side, so I was like, I mean, if I'm
yeah,
gonna punch holes, physical. I mean, special looks like the way to go because I couldn't fit setup. I couldn't fit Swords Dance or Calm or so I was like, I think since I can't fit setup, I think special's the way to go. And Valiant has better coverage on the special side.
yeah,
Um, but like I mean, but yeah, it gets everything that I brought. He would have had like he would have had play rough, uh, close combat, leaf blade, and I think it gets shadow claw.
yeah, yeah. I get Shadow Claw.
But
It
yeah,
gets a few other
the
things.
last second switch, I almost this morning I almost put hex on instead of shadow ball because I was like, well, if I'm able to spread poison around with the T spikes, I'm able to get T spikes up early, spread poison around, hex will go crazy. But then I was like, well,
Definitely. I was default earlier. I was meant to like. I was thinking that I was waiting for the Altaria to just mega, and if I didn't, and if I stayed in with the Palipar, I think I would have died to the Hyper Voice. And then I would have lost rain, so I couldn't risk defogging the T Sparks away.
mm.
Um,
Yeah, that,
at that
that
point,
late
it wasn't really
defog, the late defog on Pelipper surprised me because I figured, yeah, if you had it, you would have done it earlier.
Yeah, I looked at the after because Slowbro had already been poisoned at that point, and so had Greninja,
Right,
and it didn't really matter if Urshifu and Swampert. I like because Urshifu was meant to come in. Once it came in, it wasn't getting swapped out. It was meant to
right.
take a kill or two
Hmm.
and then just die, and it did. I didn't even do that. It got nothing, I think. And then
Yeah, I think Altaria took it out.
yeah, and then I could just pivot with like Slowbro, Teleport, and Scissor,
Hmm.
and obviously Pelipper too. And I thought I should have brought, in hindsight, Roost would have been a good bring, but I couldn't
Oh,
fit it on. I needed defog for the Grimmsnarl.
yeah, yeah, yeah. For the screens, yeah.
Yeah, like Brick Break I think was enough.
Yeah, you had brick. Yeah, you had brick break on two Mons and defog.
Yeah, Well,
You did
Grimstyle,
have.
I looked at like Grimstyle on your. I looked at a couple battles previously, and Grimstyle was like the main contributor to a lot of your wins, and
Yeah,
just like keeping skills up. So I
being
was like, oh, I'm not gonna let
being able to
Grimstyle.
bring in like something like a Valiant or Garchomp or whatever, any kind of offensive Pokemon behind screens, and then if you're able to, especially after a parting shot, so it's like you're bringing it on something that's -1, and I have a screen up. Like, dude, you're doing no damage to me. It's been Grimmsnarl's been so good, just for that reason.
Yeah,
Like being able to do that,
so
which sucks because against who was it? I think Kappa is the one with the normal ghost team. Because like
good. Yeah.
that's the one game this season I brought it like offensive. I actually was able to bring bulk up Grimstar like a different set, and I think it saw the field one time and then it never came back in.
God
That's why I was pissed.
damn. Yeah, it's so fair.
But it is what it is. But yeah. Is there anything else that?
No. Yeah. What's your? Are you making playoffs?
Yeah,
Yeah, you are.
this game puts me at 8-2.
Nice.
Yeah, I
I
lost.
was well. Once I took over the team at 0-3, and
Yeah,
then I won the first six, and then I was like, "Fuck, we're actually looking pretty good."
yeah. This
And then
season's been. I mean, so how are you liking the format? You're another person who's been around for a long time. I know.
yeah,
How are you feeling about it?
I'm loving it. I think it's really cool. It allows things to shine because I reckon in this format, especially, weather is
Oh, crazy.
that much better. It's
Yeah,
just because you don't have less checks to things. So
absolutely.
having like, because I think when I took over the team, it had no Mega Swampert, like it had no rain abusers really. It had
Right.
rain, but no like, it
Yeah,
had like I think Mega
that
Shuffle and
surprised the
something.
crap out of me whenever he was drafting. Like, because like
Yeah,
originally
so
he
I
had both rain setters, and he didn't take anything to use the rain. He didn't have Mega Swampert, didn't have Kingdra, didn't have Ludicolo even. And
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
it was a weird team.
yeah, it
And
was.
then
But he's a newer
I've
player.
had
I don't want to talk bad about him.
yeah, that's fair.
Don't want to
The
talk bad
team
about
I
him.
and then the team I've got now, I needed like one extra trade. There was a seventh trade I wanted to do for something that I wanted to try and swap out. But I couldn't really make it work, unfortunately.
That sucks. Well, what I mean, trades are done. What was it? Do you remember?
Like, I was actually going to keep the draft the Urshifu. I was going to keep the Volcarona because it was a lower tier,
Yeah.
um, and then trade out the Galvantula or the Cleaver instead of get Cleaver or draft an extra tier 2, I believe, or a higher tier 3.
Okay.
But I can't remember what the actual trade itself was.
Okay. Yeah.
But it was
Cleavor was probably the one mon on your team that I was like, it would have surprised me a little bit to see it.
yeah. Like, I was like, oh, maybe Scarf Cleaver, but
But even then, like Stone Axe, you're able to get a little bit of damage off. Even if you do it to something that's like really bulky, you're still getting hazards up.
oh yeah, just
So
move it around. Everything just swapped into it. There was nothing that it could really. I
right,
mean, it would have been good for Togekiss, and that's about it.
yeah, that's about it. But all right. I think that will do it. Unless you've got anything else you want to add. All right. So if you watched this far, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the super fun stuff, and stick around for more PWO content. And we will catch you in the next one. Peace out.